Hi everyone, welcome back to Revolve headquarters. Today I'm going to show you a really clever way of using leftovers at the end of a pizza party. We're going to make an eggplant parmesan using leftover ingredients and our double-sided cast iron pan. So let's get started. Here are eggplants. We're going to slice them into nice long strips and we're going to grill them in the pan. Okay, so we're going to take our eggplant and we'll just take the top off. These are beautiful eggplants, these ones. I do like these slightly fatter ones. They work really well with an eggplant parmesan. So the way we want to cut these eggplants, you just want to go nice lengthways like this and get ourselves some nice, about ½ inch thick slices of eggplant. Don't go too thin with these. If you go too thin, then when you grill them, they'll fall apart. So you still want to have a little bit of bite with your eggplant. And it's nice to go lengthways. You get a little bit more eggplant each bite you take, as opposed to going with the circles. So I like to cut it this way. And we're just going to season them both sides with a little bit of sea salt. And then we're going to add some olive oil and then we're going to grill it. So I'm going to turn the Revolve on now. And I'm going to preheat this side of our cast iron pan, which is the skillet side. This is really good for grilling vegetables and meats, perfect for grilling eggplants. So the way we designed it, we wanted a pan that you could have sauce and you could slow cook, you could do stews, you could do stuff like this eggplant parmesan, but also give you a way of grilling stuff on the griddle pan. So this doubles as a lid, and then we cook in here. So the first step of this recipe is to use this side to give us the nice color, the flavor, the char on the eggplants, and then we'll go on to using this side. So I'm just gonna heat up the griddle pan so it gets nice and hot, and that's how we're gonna get a nice sear on the eggplants. So we're just gonna season our eggplant now with some nice sea salt. Just get that all over on both sides. Always important to season your eggplant. Develops a really nice flavor and it also helps to soften your eggplant. We want it to be nice and creamy. You know, when you get eggplant that's nice and creamy and rich and it just dissolves in your mouth. That's all down to good salting and also making sure that you use enough oil when you fry it and then giving it enough time to cook in a sauce so it softens. And then a nice amount of olive oil. And we just go all over on both sides. Be generous with the olive oil. It makes a big difference. It gives you that flavor of the Mediterranean. Gives you a good texture and it helps with the charring. So our pan right now is starting to come up to temperature. We want it to be smoking hot and then we're just gonna go in with the eggplants. Okay, so the pan is nice and hot. We're gonna go in with a little bit of olive oil. And then we're gonna put our eggplant slices. And you can line them up. Nice sound. So you can get them nice and close together. You got that beautiful sound as they sizzle away. And we're cooking this at high temperature in the Revolve. So get your flame up to max. We're gonna put it in. And just keep an eye on them. Give them maybe 5 minutes and you'll see they start to caramelize. You get that nice grill mark on there. And that's really gonna give a lot of flavor to the dish. Oh, look at these. Look at that, that's exactly what we want. We've got beautiful grill marks, beautiful flavor. When you grill eggplants, it brings a kind of sweetness out of the vegetable and it's wonderful. So we'll just place it onto here. We'll do all of our eggplant first and then we'll move on to our sauce. If they overlap a bit, doesn't matter. They tend to slightly shrink when you put them in. So, last batch goes in, full heat, give it 5 minutes. All right, that's our last batch. Beautifully cooked eggplant. It's gonna give so much flavor to this dish. Now, what I would suggest at this point is you turn the heat down in the Revolve. Whenever I cook a dish that has sauce, I like to cook it low and slow. That way it doesn't get too crazy, it doesn't bubble too crazy. It just slowly blips away as if you were using a pan and you just wanted to have a low simmer. So we turn it down now. And now all we need to do is construct the eggplant parmesan. Okay, our griddle pan has done its job for now. We'll put it to one side. Now we're focused on the deep dish. And it's just a case of constructing. So, San Marzano tomatoes are not just amazing for making pizza, they're incredible for making all sorts of pasta sauces, making this kind of eggplant dish. So what we do is we go in generously with a thin layer of San Marzano tomatoes to begin with. We go in with a generous layer of our San Marzano tomatoes, and this is just like making a lasagna. You're just about creating layers now. So we'll get a layer of basil. Again, you're always going to have basil at the end of a pizza party. So the whole point of this dish is, what do we have left over? Let's make sure we can use it. So we're always going to have leftover San Marzano tomatoes, always going to have basil, always going to have some mozzarella. And that's why these kind of dishes make sense, because you're not adding to your workload. You're simply finding another way to get another meal out of the same amount of prep, which is perfect. That's what we should be doing. So we've got a layer of basil down now. Now it's worth noting that at the moment, this pan is cold. We haven't preheated this pan, and we don't need to, because when we put it into the Revolve, it'll slowly heat up, and actually what we want is low and slow. So you need to kind of change your mindset now from fast-paced pizza making at high temperature to now low and slow. And when we designed the Revolve, that was one of the big things that we were keen to stress, is that it was as good performing at high as at low temperatures. And that just gives you the ability to cook so much more. So, mentality switch, slow cooking now. So, look, we're making a layer of the eggplant. Now we're going to put a layer of our wonderful fior di latte mozzarella. Now the wonderful thing about this dish, the cheese, the mozzarella is going to give you the stringiness. It's going to give you that amazing pull when you lift it up and you've got all that nice stringy cheese with a nice flavor. But the Parmesan is the star of the show. This is what gives it the rich, salty, kind of fermented flavor that you get from a Parmesan. So you want to go generous with your Parmesan. And now we go again. Same thing. Tomato, basil, eggplant, Parmesan, and mozzarella. The other thing is you get a wonderful freshness from the San Marzano tomatoes. Remember, they haven't been cooked prior, so they have a really nice fresh flavor. Put a layer of our basil. And if you wanted to, you could quite easily add some lasagna sheets in between here and make it more of a main meal and have pasta involved as well. Or you could serve it with the focaccia bread that we do in the oven, or you could even do it with rice. So you can always bulk it out. But to be honest, I love it when it's slightly cooled down and you get a nice slice of eggplant parmesan. It's just perfect. It doesn't need anything else for me. Okay, and then we go in with our last layer of our fior di latte. On top, we add our eggplant. Just like that. Come and have a look at this. This is beautiful. Something about grilled eggplant when you get a little bit of the oil on the skin of that black skin. It just looks so inviting, so appetizing. Now this could quite easily feed 8 people, at least 8 people. And one of the things that we were really keen when we designed this cast iron pan was to max out the space in the oven. So this is a really big pan that you can cook a dish for a large number of people, and that's really important, so maximizing that space. And this will now cook low and slow. It'll blip away, develop a lot of flavor. The eggplant will get nice and soft, and then we'll serve it up. So I'm just going to put the last bit of Parmesan over the top. I might even kiss it with a little bit more olive oil, and then we'll go into the oven. Okay, now we're going to put the lid on top, just like that, seals it all in, and we're going to put it in the oven, and that's just going to slowly cook away, develop loads of flavor. So give it at least a good 15 minutes in there. That'll give it a really nice flavor. Okay, let's put it in. Okay, so the eggplant parmesan has had about 15 minutes now. We're going to take it out, we're going to take the lid off, and then we're going to give it the last few minutes with a high heat just to let it crisp up nicely on the top. So let's just remove it now. Let's have a look what it looks like inside. See, it's bubbling away nicely. You can tell all the flavors have mingled together, the cheese has melted. Now we just want to get the top looking really nice. So we'll go back in for the last few minutes at a high heat. There we go. Mamma mia. Have a look. Now we can just put a final few basil leaves on the top. And my recommendation for an eggplant parmesan, allow it to rest now. Leave it. Resist the temptation, let it cool down a bit. It's going to make it so much easier to portion, and also, you know, that olive oil that's bubbling away, that's just going to solidify a little bit with all the layers, and it's just going to make it much more enjoyable. So you just want to give it at least 10 minutes just to cool down. Put this in the fridge the next day. Oh, tastes amazing. So it's one of those things that actually, with a bit of time, gets better. There we go. There is our finished eggplant parmesan. So next time you've got some leftover tomato sauce, some leftover mozzarella, parmesan, basil, use it to make this dish. Make use of the cast iron pan, make use of the Revolve, and you get the most amazing results. Also, don't worry if you've got a few spills in the Revolve. When you cook with this kind of stuff, you're going to get some oil spills, you're going to get a bit of sauce come up and out of the pan. Don't worry about that at all. Now that the dish is out, I'm going to put the Revolve back up to high temperature and give it about 10 minutes just with nothing in there. It's going to clean off any of that residue. Then use your brush and you'll have a beautiful oven again in no time. So don't worry about that either. There we go. There is our eggplant parmesan. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.